The Cowboys' 5th round pick, it is in after a long run with a bunch of running backs. Dallas says, we're fine not taking anybody else there. We'll see if one gets taken later on today. Ignoring the lack of a running back being added, I do like the pick here quite a bit of Caelen Carson out of Wake Forest. I think this is the type of cornerback that Mike Zimmer is going to be a fan of, and I think there is good value for this selection. He checks in at 137 overall on my board. Of the available corners, he was actually my second best one left behind DJ James, who I think probably ends up being more of a nickel guy in the NFL. I think there was some interest in adding some more outside cornerback help. I think Caelen Carson can accomplish that. He's played both zone-heavy schemes and man coverage-heavy schemes over his time in Wake Forest. It was more zone than man this year, and maybe was a little bit better in the zone in terms of completion percentage, but also I thought played pretty well as a man guy in 2022. I had been hoping for a big breakout year from Caelen Carson, seeing some growth across the board. Didn't quite get that overall. There's a lot of experience, a very smart football IQ player. We know that's something Mike Zimmer values pretty heavily there. I think this is a solid fit for what this defense is searching for. I had a 4th/5th round grade on him. To get him basically an entire round later, I think is a good pick if we ignore and get rid of the lack of running back stuff that we are justifiably disappointed and upset about there. But the individual pick, total grades later tonight, the individual pick I do like for Dallas. You're getting good value, and you need a quarterback help, by the way. What does this mean for Eric Scott and Sean Wright? We'll have that conversation later. So grade the pick for me of Caelen Carson to the Dallas Cowboys in round 5. A, B, C, D, or F. Go ahead and sound off for me in the comment section of today's show. This will be the pinned comment, by the way, on today's video. So if the ad comes here on YouTube, that's great. Ignore the ad. Nobody cares. Let it play, whatever. Go vote instead. A, B, C, D, or F. Now, I don't just have to listen to my opinion. That's totally fine. Here's what the great Dane Brugler of The Athletic, who was higher on Caelen Carson than I was there, says Carson needs to prove he can stay healthy and be on the field for a full season. We'll come back to that more in depth in a little bit here. But he has the competitive athleticism and the football IQ needed for coverage duties in the NFL, offers inside-outside versatility, and projects as an eventual NFL starter. Dane had him at a 3rd/4th round pick. Dane is right. He did show a little bit of nickel corner ability this past year. He was mostly outside. That's where I would play him because I think some of the athletic traits we'll get into here are a slight red flag from that, which is why I was a bit lower, I think, than Dane was on Caelen Carson. I do think the football IQ is a thing. We will get to the medical stuff. We'll do more pros and more cons later on here, but there are medical stuff to be worried about. But first, today's show is made possible by Game Time. Game Time is the place for last-minute tickets to your next big sporting event. Download the app over at GameTime.co and use promo code CHATSPORTS for $20 off your first purchase. Maybe you want to go to a Stars. Well, maybe not the Stars. That's not been very good, Coop. I'm sorry. Mavs playoff game? Mavs playoff game. Let's do that one. Maybe find some deals. Stars value, though, for a playoff game. The series doesn't start yet until it's 3-0, right? Right? That's when the series starts? I don't know. You can also do concerts, comedy, theater, and a whole lot more. Link will be in the comment section and the description of today's show. Again, that's promo code CHATSPORTS, CHATSPORTS, CHATSPORTS for $20 off and free shipping. When you can find zone deals, do it. You pick the section, Game Time picks the seats for big-time savings in the process. That link's in the comments and the description of today's show. Appreciate Game Time sponsoring so much of our coverage, especially the draft-focused stuff here at the Cowboys Report. All right, let's talk the positives of Caelen Carson. Why was he one of your best players on the board, Tom? Multi-year starter, lots of experience, and he is, I think, a very smart football player. I think the football IQ box is checked off based on what we saw from that perspective. He is willing to be physical. Now, again, he's not the biggest guy. He's just under 6 foot, narrowly under 200 pounds. He was 199 and 193 at the Pro Day Combine, so just under that frame there. Not the biggest hands, by the way. I think that could be an issue we'll get to here in a little bit. Does have some special teams experience 254 special team snaps from that perspective. The big thing that I like about him, I think the short area burst is pretty good. Overall, he is a good tackler, which I know that's something that maybe you don't have the best corners tackles in recent years there. Did get a little bit worse this year. He missed 6 tackles this year, but only 4 in his previous 2 seasons, so I think that's more of a one-year outlier. The overall sample size is really good as a tackler there. Smart, heady football player. I didn't see the war room this time for the Cowboys the way we saw it with Marist Liufau. I bet Mike Zimmer liked this pick a lot. I think this is a good Zimmer pick. I did not trust the cornerback depth for this Cowboys team. We'll see what Eric Scott can do long-term. That was a Dan Quinn pick, I think, more than anything, which I get bothered when I don't like when the coaches make picks. Let the scouts do their jobs, man. That's my mind. You pay those guys good, not actually good money, but you pay them money to do stuff. So I like the pick for Caelen Carson. Some negatives. Why was he available? They had a 3rd, 4th round grade on him, Tom. How's he in the late 5th? Let's put that in a moment. But you can get the best Cowboys draft coverage here right on the channel. We will have grades end of the night. We'll have coverage for you with UDFAs tomorrow as well. Hit that sub button, youtube.com/Cowboys TV for more free Dallas Cowboys YouTube videos. Do not miss out. Subscribe right now. The negatives then on Caelen Carson. Number one thing for me, and this is why I was lower than what Dane was, I like ball skills in my corners. I want playmaking. He doesn't have any interceptions the past 2 years. Now, your other corners around him in Dallas have all the ball skills you want, so maybe that's less of a concern specifically here for the Dallas Cowboys. He wasn't really a lockdown corner for me. He got targeted twice as often in 3 more games and allowed about double the yardage as a result. A little bit lower on the completion percentage. The touchdowns were a little bit higher. Again, he did do some nickel stuff, so those numbers do tend to rise when you are a nickel corner. I had questions about the long speed. I wasn't sure if he was fast enough to hang. He did run 4.53 for his 40-yard dash, which that's good enough. That is fast enough. I think the shorter area quicks, like his 10-yard split was awesome. The flying 20 wasn't quite as good there. So good enough speed for me to kind of check off that box in terms of getting things accomplished and not being a massive, like, undraftable, drop into the 7th round thing for me there. Had 6 bench press reps, which is kind of shockingly bad there. It's a corner, so, like, it's okay. And he does play tougher than that, so I'm not as concerned there. The broad wasn't very good. It was kind of a poor broad jump there. He's an above-average athlete given his size in the end. Just like how we're talking 62nd percentile, more or less. So you're picking in the 5th round. You're not going to find that many like 90th percentile guys. So it checks off that box, relatively speaking. Finally, the last negative note here, injury red flags. He has missed 11 of his last 30 games. So I would bet, and I do factor injury stuff, I would bet they're going to say he was like a 3rd or 4th round grade for us on the board with medical tag on him. That would be my guess. Hamstring and a foot strain also limited him to the NFL Combine. It's been various bumps and bruises, nicks and banged up here. 8 games played, 9 games played, 8 games played, 11 games played over the course of his career. Did have 2 interceptions back in 2021 where I was like, ooh, this guy could be a really good guy in 2022's draft class even. But then has no interceptions since then. Cowboys will be back on the clock in about a round at the end of the 6th round, plus some early 7th rounders they'll have all in a row there. Caelen Carson is the pick here. I would love to get a running back. Maybe one falls to you. Maybe a Kamani Vidal, a Blake Watson, somebody, or go trade for one, hell. Who do you want to draft next, though? That's the final question for you on today's show. Hit that sub button, youtube.com here. Go vote. Who do you want the Dallas Cowboys to draft next in the comment section? I'll also make note, if you're watching this on demand, we are still simulcasting on the Cowboys Report YouTube channel, so make sure you check that out there as well. Who do you want to draft next? You're in the later day 3 range. I'm going to be nicer with my grades as we get forward there. I give this one's an A- for me, by the way. Thank you.